allowing me. Okay,
What he said?
we're live.
Good morning, good afternoon, good day.
Good day, my friend. Good day. How are you feeling? How was that sleep? Was that some good sleep for you? At least I hope
No,
it was not.
no, it's not a good vibe for me. It makes me feel like my day is just not a good day.
Okay, well,
I'm not the sleep your day away kind of girl,
I
so
got I
it'll
got it.
probably
So it's
it'll
best
probably
that you
be
wait
my
till the evening, and do that.
well, well, I think it's the waiting and the anticipation for the fact that we have a show. And then I'm like, oh, let me make sure I'm rested. But actually, I just wake up feeling like, what was that? Hours and hours. Like the song says, I can go for hours and
Yeah.
hours.
Well, you looking good. I love your hair.
Thank you. It's been a long time since I've had this hair smooth. So,
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I
yeah,
like it.
thank
So, for
you.
everyone who has tuned in, this is the We Missed It podcast on IntellectualRadio.com. It's shortly at 4 p.m. Central Time. So, as Tricia said, she is the co host along with me, Christine Johnson. Tricia Cox in her studio, and I'm here in the studio, and we are ready to get started.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are.
Have you heard Beyonce's new song?
One time. So I couldn't retain it. What did you feel about it?
I heard it for the first time on the way here. I kept hearing people talk about it, but I hadn't heard it. But they played it on the radio while I was on the way here. I liked it. It kind of put me in the house music mood. Had a little vibe to
Hmm.
it, but she's talking
What's the
about
name of it?
I don't even know, but she's talking about letting go of things, maybe career, certain career. Uh
I think I did the little bit that I listened to.
mhm.
When I first heard it, what I thought was that it sounded like she had matured.
Yeah, that's what I would say the same thing. That's exactly what I got from it, and it didn't put me in the mood that some of her other music has. And really not good or bad. It's just it gave me a totally different vibe, and I was actually surprised about that. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, I will say this: it was good for me to hear, to hear something that sounded reflective and mature. But it made me look forward to maybe hearing what the album will really listen and
The
sound like.
entire album.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So that did that for me because most of the things that I've enjoyed from her has just been, fun stuff. And I tend to enjoy artists
Right.
with real depth to their lyrics.
Okay, okay. All right.
So that
Versus the
sounded so I
Sierra
was looking
shaking the
forward
rump
to it.
video I showed you. Was there a lack of depth
Oh,
there? Were we
oh.
lacking depth in that? I don't think the fellas would
Oh,
think we were lacking
that was
depth.
definitely
I think the
lacking
men were
depth.
like, it had plenty of depth.
Yes, yes. I think that definitely is a difference. I think it's a lot of things to think about Sierra still popping it and shaking it. I mean, what are you referencing,
Well, no,
Christine?
that's really
Are you
no.
saying that CC has new music?
No, no, no. And that really, really, truly is not even probably where we were going with this talk today. But I just thought, compare and contrast.
But technically, isn't it where we're going? It's about talking about doing some things we were doing for a long time, and then we
You know
need
what? You're
to.
right. What a connection you just made. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, doing some things, checking some boxes. What you said, family? Did you say Family Feud?
Okay, so this is all really apropos. It's poetry at this point. So Beyonce, her husband on the 444 album has a song actually called Family Feud. So basically he's saying, we're
You
not gonna
kill me
grow, no
addressing
one
this man
grows.
as her husband, but okay, go on.
Basically. uh I'm a fan. I'm a Jay-Z fan.
Yeah. No, that's why I
So,
was saying you didn't say his name. You said
well, see, when you are a fan of the husband and not the wife, people try to label you a hater.
Oh,
Oh, you,
you
yeah,
were
our friends call me a hater.
I didn't know you were supposed to be a bee hater.
Yeah, so we have some
Oh,
girlfriends who are really, a part of the
I
beehive.
was gonna say you're not a part of the beehive. Okay.
No, so I never told you the story.
No, no.
You mean there's a story I haven't told you?
Listen, and if you did, it didn't it didn't stick with me. So I didn't know you weren't part of the beehive. I
Okay, well let's get to it, sis. Let's get to it. I am not a beehiver. We have friends, one in particular, who takes in all the stray pets, and she she is
I'm gonna
a
let that fly.
Uber.
I'm not gonna focus on that
Yeah,
comment. But anyway, go on.
she's a Uber fan. And
Right,
then we've got a couple other girlfriends we know that goes to all the concerts,
right,
right?
right, right.
So the history is Mika and I and a couple of other people used to be in the salon while I was doing the service. And when this is the beginning of when they started calling me a hater. Because Beyonce came out with the infamous album that they said made her sound so grown. And they were like, "You're gonna love it because she sounds so grown." And I was like, "Okay." And so they played the music, and
Okay,
that was the album that had Driver Roll Up the Partition Baby.
right.
And you remember the
And I
lyrics,
knew which
right?
one it
'Cause
was because I remember this time. I remember the era we were in.
the era, right? So
Yes.
she had the driver roll up the partition baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she was, after she rolled up the partition, and her husband and her had
That's the drunken love, right?
exchange. The who?
Drunken love.
Exactly. So you headed where I'm going. So driver roll up the partition baby,
Right.
and she said, "Okay, they never made it to the event because they never made it to the event." Her and the
Right.
husband, the back seat, and then she went on to do one of my favorite enjoyable jams, "Drunk in Love." And in that she let them know that she was driving that big body Benz, and she was falling down in that good water, right? And she was
Right.
for respect drinking watermelon and all kind of wonderful
All
things. So
right. A plethora of
all
things.
the all the plethora of things. And I think another one was I want to be the girl you like. So in my naivety, I said, well, first of all, if we're the wife, why are we still trying to be the girl he likes? Why are we drunken in love to where we are telling people what kind of machine or part that our husband has? Don't we already aren't we making these songs based on trying to back the women up off of said husband?
Right.
Why are we
Well,
advertising that he's a big body Benz and all of his
right.
accolades?
Yeah.
Correct. And
Yeah.
then my favorite, of course, was partition. So I just said to our friend Mika, who told me that this album was so mature and that I would just be taken away. I said that is not my idea of what a woman and maturity looks like. So from
Right.
that perspective, I was underwhelmed. But I said I want to be a bee fan. I want to be about that beehive life. So I said, whenever you all go to the next concert, I'm going. So that became an escapade of us going to Detroit just
And
to
I
see a
know you
beehive.
went. Right. I know you
Yeah,
you you
yeah,
you guys
yeah.
went.
So I will say this. I enjoyed the concert thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
He is an
She's
excellent,
a hell
excellent
of a
performer.
performer, isn't she? Yeah.
Hella, hella good, hella good.
Yeah.
And I loved the fact that at that time she had all women bandmates, and it was just a great time. So I came back respecting the craft. I
Of
came back
course.
respecting what the song used to say, "Bow down bees." I was a bowing down bee, right?
Yeah.
And that was understood. But what I was still not is a fan in that way. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
gonna chase the concerts and all that. So fast forward, everyone who knows me know that I'm a J fan.
Right. I know that of you. Now that part of you I know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there began me coming back from this concert because I wasn't self-proclaimed beehiver, they called me the hater. I'm mad because he's married to the beautiful Beyonce, and I'm just pissed because I never met him. And if I met him, he's off the block, and all the things that they just threw on me. I was labeled.
You hater.
I'm a hater. So I guess over the years now, the more that they bond, I just say the husband.
I got
And
it.
you know it's funny because when he became a millionaire, I mean, sorry, billionaire, and he became a billionaire before she became a billionaire. I was celebrating because I just wanted for him as an artist and as a man, more of for a man to be able to celebrate that victory for
Yeah,
his
that's
own
a
independent
heck of
work.
a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, then for the collective,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
that was my thing. But I'll just say this: the Family Feud, right? He has a lyric that said, "When we all are screwed because we never had the tools, so I'm gonna try to fix you." And he's talking about the family feuding, right?
Ah.
And I think that's appropriate to what we're talking about. We never had the tools, so now we out here like the family feud game, right? And all the topics are on the board, and we're like, what does 1,000 people say? What does 100 people say? Because we were technically raised to create our lives based on what was expected outside of ourselves.
Yeah,
So family feud. So one of the boxes that we had to check was about our own sexuality, and hence the talk about Sierra
yeah,
and Beyonce.
right.
And I think they're both two perfect folks to talk about when do you get to the point where you cover up some of the body parts and you go ahead and become a mother and a wife. And is it inappropriate that is it wrong of us to think when we see them that we don't want them to go back to being those women, 100% those women?
You know, that's a good question, and I have been grappling with it because, on one sense, we do want to be uh, current or an understanding of our own sexuality, but at the same time, I think for me, I finally come to the point where I am unapologetic about the fact that it's a bit distasteful.
Oh, okay.
That I
There
think
you
is
go.
this a big distaste.
Unapologetic
Yeah.
and
At first I was
distasteful.
like, "Well, I shouldn't feel that way because they're just being claiming their own sexuality, and, even if it looks a bit trashy, that's okay because they're claiming their sexuality, something that women don't feel they have permission to do." But I guess a part of me also feels like, "That's fine, I get it, but at what point do you feel or have you evolved to where you're confident where you can be sexy without being trashy?"
Well, I think that there's a couple things there. What's the difference between sexy, trashy, and classy? How do you define that? Can you give us a visual on what that looks like to you? So let's go back to the video.
Well,
What happened when you watched Sierra's video? What were your inner thoughts? What were your messaging? The new video.
the one with her all the girls twerking on the car.
Yes, girl. A la, her and
Okay, so
Ludacris with her Gilly.
my first thought was that it was trashy. It didn't even look sexy to me. It just looked trashy.
Okay, so that connotated trashy to you, and it did not look sexy to you.
Not to
And
me.
you believe that what they were trying to deliver was a performance to say we are still sexy.
I don't know. I didn't put my mind into what they were trying to deliver. I just assumed that
Uh-huh.
twerking is a form of being, um, you know, sexy. I didn't say, "Oh, they're."
No, no.
I
I'm
just
thinking they
assumed they
just
were trying to be
I'm thinking,
current, is what I figured. It was an
well,
aim
she's
to be
letting people
current.
know she's probably letting people know she still got the skills. But I think when you think of when I think of twerking, I think flirty and freaky.
Yeah. Well, that's to me that's sexy.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's suggestive.
Okay. So you feel what? What says you if a woman is married and her husband Russell Simmons has since pretty much created a messaging that she is a superb wife and a businesswoman, and they are
Family woman, even.
family woman, businesswoman, that they are growing as a couple and they're becoming moguls. So, my question for you is: you feel that she should make songs more like "Level Up," where she has more clothes on?
Well, I'm not going to say that because honestly, I don't know Sierra well enough to say what she's made and what she should make. What I did think, however, was that at the point that you're at that point in your life, you might not even still get gratification for twerking on the car.
Okay,
So
and
I'm
she's still
assuming
in
that
her
she was
30s
doing
or
that because
40s.
it was gratifying for her.
I would say yes.
Right.
She
So
looked like
I
she was
was
having
just
fun.
surprised that that was still a need, a desire to feel however you need to feel. That's what was shocking for me.
Okay, that's good.
Because I
That's
had her
good.
somewhere else, but that's just like the last one where I had Puffy somewhere else.
Where did
So,
you have her exactly?
um, oh, just still trendy, beautiful, still making good music. Maybe not the sex pot, really, you know?
Oh, okay. So let's switch on over to the other girl since we're riding this train real quick. There was a picture a couple months back. I don't know how long. It could have been within a year. And Beyonce was advertising her Ivy Park line, and
Yes, that was the one
she
with the
had on,
jeans. Yeah.
yeah, she had some jeans on that, and her outfit looked like she was wearing chaps, like a person who rode, horses.
Mhm.
And so her entire backside, her whole booty was out,
The pants had
and
holes in
the
them.
whole derriere
The
cut out.
peekaboo, but it was a nice size peekaboo.
Yeah, her it was nice. It was nice. It was a beautiful butt,
Yes.
but I think
What I
that was
meant was
also
not that her butt was beautiful, but that the holes, the openings were pretty large.
okay. I don't okay, and so the
Well, it wasn't like just a slit.
friend,
It
can
was
I just tell
actually
you,
it was the
you
actual
just had
hole.
me so quiet. I'm like, okay, so the butt part being out cut pretty large is all we know. We can't say the girl's butt was beautiful.
Oh, no, no, no. I don't care if it was beautiful. I was just trying to say you because if you say like the jeans had, holes in them, I'm trying to make sure, it could just be like, we have rips in our jeans. So
You clarifying
I'm
for
just
me.
clarifying the
Yeah, thank
design
you.
of it that was the hole, right?
Okay, thank you. That's important stuff. So I know for me, I was taken aback. And I was like, wow, like when you become someone's wife and you're the mother of three, do you still want everyone to know that your butt is flawless, as she would say? You know, I personally thought that was a little risque and not necessary. And I believe you had an opinion about it as well.
Yeah, like I said, I think I felt the same way when I saw that I was thought that it was nice that she had the line or whatever, but I thought she should let somebody else do that part because I just don't know if I was married, would I want my wife out there with her butt out like that? I just thought that was a bit much.
Yeah, well, so I think we've made it where I'm trying to land. And my question is, what is the line at this point, right?
Yeah.
Um, if we're talking about a box, I think we're talking about how do we see the sexuality box, and is it based on how we were brought up? Is it based on just our inner workings as a person? Because we're expecting that certain things connotate what they should and shouldn't do. Those things are saying if you are a wife, if you're, linked to a man who cares about you, if you have children at a certain point, that you should have some type of boundary about how you present yourself. That's what's being assumed in this conversation.
I guess boundaries. Also, I guess where I go with it is I guess I have you at a certain point out of the mindset of that being still a need to get validation from every other so many people outside of your own union?
Mm. So is it validation that they're looking for outside of their union, or is it just about that makes them feel more empowered? Is it like a
And
Lizzo
that's
empowerment?
where, to me, that's the missing piece. And also, that is what I was talking about last time when I said all the lines are blurry now. I don't even know what's acceptable. What I decided for myself is that I did think it for the last video I saw with Sierra, I did think was a bit trashy, and I don't apologize for feeling that way. I'll just own and be authentic with who I am. That's how I start that. That's how I decided to reconcile that.
Yeah, I'm okay with your reconciliation, but for the sake of this conversation, since we're on a public format, I guess what I'm trying to say is the name of our show is that we missed it. And
Right.
evidently, we're talking about something that was missed. So I want to make sure that we're clear about what is missing in the piece. Because for me, I was in Georgia last week, Atlanta, Georgia.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that stood out the most for me, watching, different types of women, different ages, is that when I was being raised, modesty was preached to me about how I present myself. Red lips were considered to be the color that you have for loose women. I wasn't allowed to wear black as a staple color until I got older because it was associated with funerals and maturity. I definitely was shunned if there were too many body parts. So I remember when I got into having cleavage like I do now,
Uh-huh.
that was about the level of permission, right? You don't show all the parts. You either show a back or a leg or a front, but not all of them at once. So those were
Right.
boxes that became the staple for what I consider to be acceptable and attractive. So I remember sitting in a food court looking, and what I noticed is that there was so many, there was definitely pieces of clothes missing. And if they were wearing, let's say, there were people out in like the boy shorts, the bra top that looks like a workout top.
Mhm.
There
But
were
that's how we
dresses.
dress today, though. That's what is normal for these ladies coming up.
Yes, but what I took away from it, what I saw in the essence of them is this. To me, having less clothes on made them feel more attractive, and having more clothes on was necessarily not the thing. So for me, I began to realize that I may be a little dated, and that I had to, as you say, come to terms with myself that it was going to be okay with me being in a restaurant and sitting across from women who may be doing, different things, not wearing a lot of clothing, undergarments not protecting the jiggle. All these things was going to happen in the name of feeling sexy. And I assumed in my mind that when we're doing that for someone to find us more attractive, and it makes us feel freer. But
But
that the
that's what I
days
mean
of
about
wearing,
I think it's validation when they perceive that they're dressing in a way that will make someone think that they're sexy.
yeah. So are we dressing that way for the other women to look at us and say, "Ooh, she's like,
Yes, I
looking good,"
do.
or are we doing it for men to like us? Because
No, no, no,
that's a
no.
whole other question.
I think most of what we're doing today as it pertains to the sexiness is to outdo the other women.
So there we have it, right? And
Yes.
that's the thing I think a lot of people miss.
Mhm.
I think that's the
It's
thing
for
that's
other
missed.
women.
It's for other women, it's not for
Yes.
ourselves. And hence why we might get confused that if you and I were in a certain kind of relationship or a marriage, and even though there's some visibility with that, it's almost as if you feel as if you're disrespecting yourself and your partner by being so explicit in clothing and in movement, right?
Well, yeah, because I'm thinking at a certain stage, that's no longer on the list that we need to still be worried about. That's why I thought it was inappropriate because I didn't even think that was still a thing once you are. Now, don't get me wrong, I know these people have public, personas and they have careers, but again, I didn't think that you were still worried about that part of it to the point where you would actually wanna wear booty shorts and be actually twerking out in public to that extent. I just thought that was a bit far, because I mean, who are you doing that for?
But we just said we were doing it for the ladies. We're doing it to serve notice for the chicks. We're still some baddies. We're still out here looking good. We
Right.
still working with our body parts, right? And we're sexy, and it's definitely to serve notice that we're still looking good, and we can keep the attentions and the affections of our men. I think that's kind of the piece that is missed from those of us who are from one era to another.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of
and that's
where
the
it is about
blurry.
the boxes.
Yep, yeah.
That's the blur line.
That's
Because
the
I would
blur
think,
line.
as you
Yep.
become a mom, definitely for the respect of your son or daughters, you kind of want them to be able to say, yeah, that's my mom in a way where they don't have to go, that's also my mom's butt, and that's also
Yeah,
my
because I
mom's
was wondering, I'm
breast.
like, wow, I was thinking to myself, I think she's got 2 young sons. I don't know how old they are, but I was like, wow, I guess they're not old enough to see that. Not that it matters, but I did think about
Well,
that.
this new world, they seeing it, and they're not thinking what we're thinking. So that's it. If you're raising your children and they're not now, the kids nowadays, they're jaded. They're not. None of that really affects them the
I'm
same
with
way.
you, I do. I think that's a normal. That's the new normal.
Yeah.
There always was a time too, if you were a heavier set person, there were certain things you covered up, body parts, that I don't even think size matters anymore. I
Oh, it
think
definitely doesn't
the
matter.
norm is just to be, less is more.
Yes, emancipation.
There you
We
go.
are free. Get our jiggle on,
Less
friends.
is
Get your
more.
jiggle on. Yes, because the goal is to be behind the partition, baby.
Stop. Oh, this is funny.
Gosh,
But yes, the
this
lines
is
are
for
definitely
all of
blurry.
those.
So I just
Look, for
decided to
all.
be okay. And so part of when we were talking about these boxes, checking and unchecking, I just decided that own be who you are. You think it's a bit trashy? Own it.
Oh, that's okay. That's the takeaway.
Yeah,
The
for me,
takeaway is that
yeah.
your box that you are now checking regarding sexuality is own it, but not own it that you could be free to be sexy. Own it if you don't find that to be sexy.
That's it.
Oh, that's your takeaway. Ding, ding, ding. Woo, we got that, sissy. Yes, Christine. That's what it's about. Checking that box.
It's the it's the instead of trying to be friendly, let's uncheck the friendly box and let's check the be authentic box.
Okay, so with the box, be authentic. We're clear on sexuality. What is something else that's in a box that you are knowing you have to check and recheck? You have to change the label on your box.
In the authentic box, little it could be just something little, like a friend. I told you I had a friend that came in, he called me, said, "Hey, I'm coming through Chicago. Um, you know, can you have lunch with me?" And I'm like, "Okay." And telling him the truth, "Can you please stop calling me queen?" I used to be afraid to say that because I'm like, "Well, that's a queen is
Oh my gosh.
a queen is a good word, right?"
I didn't see that coming.
Right? A queen is a good word. So why would you care if somebody calls you queen? How about I
Why do
don't
you care?
care who cares that I just don't want to be called that. Just call me by
Why?
my name or call me I don't think of myself with a crown on my head.
So the culture is that out of respect, you're gonna, they call you queen. Hey, queen.
No, I get it. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you that instead of trying to be friendly and accepting it, I'd rather be authentic and say, "Hey, how about let's change that?"
I guess. I'm okay with that because I don't like being called queen
Yeah,
either.
just this,
But
just
why is it? Why do you think that we're not excited about hearing about our crown and straightening up our crowns?
um that is something that I have thought about, but I don't think I have done enough to give you a straight answer. I have thought about
Okay.
it though. I
You just know
have.
that it sours the belly.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I don't have a bad image of a queen. It's just that I think and again, this is probably a little premature because this is something I have thought about, and I knew when I was thinking about it, I really didn't have time. I needed to give it a little more thought, but I think it also um, puts me in a certain error that I don't relate to. So
The booty shaking era.
that may
The booty shaking era.
I don't know
Yeah. Because
what.
then they start. Aren't the generation somewhere between 30s and late 40s the people that's calling each other queen?
Well, yeah, because when I used to go to the gym, that was the other thing. There was a lady at the gym when I would come in, and she was so nice. But she would call everyone who walked in queen,
Ah,
hi queen, and she was in that age range. She was definitely younger than me. So yeah, maybe she was at that time maybe 30s. But I guess what it is while I don't think it's a bad term, I just don't relate to it. So if I don't relate to it, you probably shouldn't call me that. That's just where I've come with it.
that's your preference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so how do you feel about boo?
Well, boo is okay with me because I think it's more comical and I can
Oh.
laugh at that.
So does it
People
matter if it's a guy calling you boo or a woman calling you boo? Hey boo.
Well, I don't wanna be called boo on a regular basis by anyone, but I do think if we're being funny and I'm correcting you on something, say, "Listen here, boo, let me holler at you. Stop." So I so
Now
so
wait a
it's funny
minute.
that you would
What?
say that because what I decided to do for my friend who was calling me queen was to call him a name that I know he don't wanna be called and say, "Well, then, listen here, stop calling me queen."
Okay. So we got served. We got served. There's no queen. There's no queen at the opposite side of this video chat. Listen, what was it you said that your aunt Deborah said about a man calling somebody something?
Well, a long time ago, I think I told you this. This is when now this is okay. See, this is funny how things go and they change over time and in
Uh-huh.
generations. Okay. And I won't even say generations, just over the decades. 10 years later,
Uh-huh.
it's this. We're constantly changing the definition of things slightly. So when Martin first started saying boo, I think she considered herself intellectually above that. So you know what she would say?
Martin Lawrence?
Huh?
Martin? You said Martin
When Martin
Lawrence?
first started calling Gina Boo, when it first came out. I
Okay.
think he was the one that did it, right? He was calling her Boo.
I don't know. I'm going to confess to all those who are listening. I am not a
You didn't
person who can
right.
honestly
Okay,
say,
so here, let me say this. I think it was him. He started calling Gina Boo. What I'm
okay,
saying is when it first came out, she told her
uh-huh,
boyfriend when he called her that, I am no one's boo.
your aunt did,
Yes. She would say
and I
that.
never forgot it.
And it was so funny. It was so funny because I really think, and this is me maybe trying to guess what she was thinking. I really think at the time she thought it was beneath her. She's like, I am no one's boo. Like, well,
I was her on that. It's funny because I have a guy dated, and he calls me boo in front of my cousin Oz, who just went
yes.
back to believe today, and he said, "Boo, did you call her Boo?" And the guy was feeling like, "Yeah, I'm trying to call her by an affectionate name in front of the family," and he said, "She is no one's boo. Can't you come up with something creative?" I
See?
mean, even if
See?
he said, even if you made it up like Leilani.
But now, to show you how things change. Now, I'm going to
Uh-huh.
give that this is 2022. This is a wild guess. I'm going to give that 15 years ago when that came out,
Absolutely.
maybe 20. I'm
Absolutely.
going to give it about that. Now, Here's what's
Well, it was
interesting.
definitely, uh-huh. Go ahead. Here's what's interesting.
If I call her boo right now, she's gonna laugh and think it's funny.
Well, that's because she knows the joke that she said she's no one's boo. So
Well,
in context, she's laughing.
also she doesn't take me seriously, like you said. She
Yes,
she doesn't take it
yes,
when back then she was. But now if somebody
yes.
says it, she's going to laugh. And so that's what I mean by kind of urban, where we are in the time and the setting kind of changes the mood of
Well,
the whole word.
well, let's talk about where we are about words that rub us. And I think that this is what I'm about to share. It's timeless. I've learned that now that I'm in the in the South, in the Southern state, that it's actually the culture. But I cannot. When I tell you, I cannot enjoy ever being called honey baby or sweetie.
Oh, yeah.
Look, as they used to say on the show with the Wayans, hated it, cannot stand it. I'm like, who gave you people permission to begin to say, okay, honey, sweetie, can you step aside? Honey, what
Is
would you
that what
like to
they're calling
order?
everybody there?
Yeah, but they did it before I got here. They're just more prominent with it here.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like honey baby and sweetie should be someone of a certain age group, someone in a grandmother age group
That's what I
that
think
has
of, right.
permission because it should be an endearing term. But now it's on the same level of queen.
Oh, so we're just calling everybody sweetie.
Listen, I have a guy in my life that I've known a long time, and I ask him, "Do you know how irritating it is that everybody you see, whether it's on the street or the phone or wherever you are, hey, sweetie," and then you turn to me and say, "Hey, sweetie," where are the lines here?
I just told you they're all blurry. We don't have any lines anymore.
Correct. Correct. So when I first started living in the South and I shared it with a guy friend, he said, "Oh, you're tripping. That's just what we do here." And I was like, "I
Get
don't
with
care
the
what they do
program.
here." Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not with it. So don't honey, baby, and sweetie me unless you are someone's grandmother or grand aunt or older woman who has earned the
Yes.
term to be endearing. Because if it's a younger person, sometimes it could be snarky.
Well, I feel that way when I call. So pretty much, yeah, my Aunt Deborah would be the person that I'm pretty sarcastic with. And when I'm trying to be sarcastic with her, that's what I call her, sweetie. And she knows it.
Yeah.
But I don't
Listen here,
call her that for
sweetie.
real.
Yeah. Oh, well, they for real. Listen here, sweetie. What can I get you, hun? First, no, hun. You can get me that.
Okay, so let's agree on this. What about sis? Because I get called that a lot too. Can we go with that one?
I have taken sis on a little bit,
Okay,
and it's
because you
because
called me that on this earlier today.
yeah, I call you that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, no, not a lot. I actually call you friend. Um, there's a couple things that are current. Sis is one of them. Friend is one of them. And I'm taking it all in a little bit because what I've learned about myself, keeping it authentic, is that I have women in my life that are not biologically related to me,
Mm-hmm.
but they feel sisterly towards me, and I feel sisterly towards them.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I never did titles like best friend. Like at this point, do you really need to call somebody your best friend?
I don't think so.
But I think that friendship is rare, real solid friendship. So if you say friend, like sometimes I'll say friend to you, I've accepted that it's okay if I can find ways to still enjoy excitement with those relationships without, those hardcore titles. She's like a sister to me. She's my best friend. Hey, best friend, that kind of thing.
Right.
So that I have allowed myself to play with that a little bit. But I'm gonna tell you one that was used when I was living here when I first moved here. I had mentored a student of mine, and she was about 18, 17, 18 when I met her. And she called me then, and to this day, she calls me Sissy. She has no sisters.
Oh,
And so I had to get used to Sissy.
that wouldn't bother me. I don't know why it wouldn't, but I don't know. That one,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was like, huh, Sissy? And when I started looking around, I realized that it is a very Southern thing that you give someone who truly means that kind of sisterly thing to you.
Yes.
So she
Yes.
calls me Sissy,
I don't know why
and I
sissy
have
seems kind
another.
of innocent. I don't know why it has that
Yeah,
connotation for
and
me.
I liked it coming from
Hmm.
her for sure.
Yes.
And then my friend Antonio has a sister named Sherry, and she calls me Sissy as well. And I
Oh,
know that's
does
because,
she?
oh, I never told you she calls me Sissy.
Mm-mm.
She
Oh, I
texts me
like
and
that.
yeah, she's always like,
Okay.
Sissy, how are you? And I know it's because in both cases, these women don't have sisters.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's just one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so to, I guess, inherent someone who makes you feel like you're in a sisterly bond is a term of definite respect and endearment. So I can ride with Sissy, I can ride with Sis, and I can ride with Friend. But we can't ride with Boo, Queen. And another thing I don't do is I don't have the kind of friendships where we call each other itch.
Oh, no, I don't use that word.
No, I have no friends where we be like, itch this, itch that, itch please.
Well, now let me say this. I do have friends where we do that, but we don't say itch. That's the difference.
What do you
We
say?
just say be.
Be, but don't say the whole word.
Right.
Oh, that makes it softer. Okay.
Oh, I don't know what it makes it. I'm just telling you what we do.
Yeah. So I have a family member, and
Now you and I don't
he,
do that because for some reason,
yeah,
and I think it's so interesting. And it's I just think it's a good call out. For some reason, you and I never ever even when we talk, I don't even get the urge to say that. And it just doesn't even come up. Where I have other friends that'll be making a joke to me and be like, "B, please," and they never say the whole word. They never say the whole word. They just say "B."
it's like nigga.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's like in an affectionate way. People are like nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like nigga. I think for us it probably didn't go in that route because our friendship wasn't built that way. We weren't
No.
social friends,
And it was
and
so
those are your
innocent.
social
I
friends.
think like and because like okay, some of my friends that I am good friends with though, I did meet a little later in life than I met you.
Uh huh.
And you know, I guess their personality and they bring out a little something different in me. For some reason with you and I, it never even comes up. I don't even have to like conceal it. It doesn't even come up.
Should I feel some kind of way that we only have intellectual love?
No, because it's not
Should I
true.
feel some kind of way
It's
because
not
I don't have
true.
no
Girl,
laughing good times with you?
we laugh at so much of the shenanigans.
I feel some kind of way. I'm like, where's the
Wait a
socialization
minute.
part? Shouldn't
Listen,
I have some kind of
listen.
funny?
You feel some kind of way that you don't get the raunchy side of me,
Yes. I'm like, I only get the
the
intellect.
trashiness.
But all jokes aside, I do bring that out with people I'm in friendship with. I'll have those same friendships. We can be in a group and they will say certain things to another friend. They'll talk about their sexual quest, conquest, their body parts. Um, they talk about a lot of things, and no one directs any of that to me. So maybe I've been a little too serious.
Oh, see, I don't know, but I was on the friend with on the phone. That time, remember that time when the three of us were on the phone? It was me, you, Geraldine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she had conversations. I feel like we had conversations that you and I never have.
yeah. And I probably never had with her.
Right. Yeah, she
You
gets
bring
in
that
there.
out in people.
Oh no,
So
not
what's going on with you?
wait a minute.
What is happening with
So you
you? You the ninja that's doing it, not me.
it's me. You
Nobody
know
says
what?
nothing.
I
Nobody
own
says
it.
nothing until
I own
Christine
it.
shows
I
up.
own it. I'm the B
Yeah,
girl, the ish girl,
yeah, yeah. You're the reason people are getting flirty and squirty
That's
around you.
it. I bring it out of the
Yeah,
people.
yeah. And I'm over here all formal, like, what is going on? Why
I
are we
know,
talking
like, what
about
are they
that?
talking about? Why are they you clutching your pearls? Like, why are they talking about that?
Well, it's funny because now that we're talking about gray lines and boundaries, I am not a person who has any desire whatsoever to discuss um, the person I'm dating or anybody I find attractive, um, and begin to rate and scale performances, attractiveness. It's just not what I do.
You know, it's interesting that you would say that because you know how you have certain girlfriends that do it and then certain girlfriends that don't. I almost
Yeah,
never ever have a desire to do that.
it's not my thing.
And
So,
it can be so much that somebody might even ask me because I'd say nothing. And I think to myself, if I didn't if I didn't volunteer that, would that be
what are they
something?
asking?
Why
What
would
kind
you
of question would a
ask?
person ask? What is a question? What is
Oh,
that?
how was the sex? You know.
Oh, please, today on this good day. What, lady? And what is that doing for you exactly?
Well,
Why do you need to know that, lady? Is that going to enhance your sexual life today, ma'am? You don't need to know nothing about this swinging thing over here. This girth and growth. What is it doing for you? I don't have
well,
time.
here's
Only
the
doing it for you
thing.
to enjoy
The reason
yourself.
that they're busy asking is because some women really do that. Like they want to compare and contrast.
Why?
I don't know. I don't.
Maybe it gets them ready. It's like foreplay.
I don't know, but they want to say, well, well, he didn't, he wasn't good at this, but he was good at that, or
Okay.
they,
Okay.
they want.
Announcement. See, that's the foolishness that's going through my head. Why are we announcing that? And why do we have to put the brother out? If his performance is such
Listen,
subpar, listen,
personally
I
for
want to talk
me,
about it. Mm-hmm.
go on.
No, you go ahead then.
No, I was gonna say personally for me, I not only don't wish to discuss mine, I don't care about yours. I really don't.
At all.
Because I'm going
At
to
all.
assume and so maybe this is just like too mature and I need to scale it back and let loose. My concern is that I'm assuming that if you're still with him, whatever he's doing has met the requirements. And I'm good on that because I'm not with him and I don't plan to be with him. And whoever I'm with, they're gonna learn what I need in any category, and we're gonna work with that. And as long as I'm there, you should assume it's satisfactory.
Okay, let's talk about it. That's perfectly where I was trying to go. So listen here. All of it becomes a
I've
little foolish, but I'm
never
gonna
asked
tell
you
you
about
what.
your pee. I'm trying to
I
imagine
have
it. Tricia, oh well. To show
you
you
can't
how
even get it out.
inexperienced I am at asking, I can't even get the question out. Oh, well, what would I say? I don't ask people stuff like that though. I really don't. I do not ask friends that.
Listen, let me just say this on the same line of comment, but just a slight different spin on this. Why are we asking each other this thing? Because what I know for sure is whether you want to tell me you only want to mess with a guy with a certain kind of body, whether you only want to ride big body beings, and you're not gonna mess around with that little old small Geo, whatever this is you're talking about. What I know for sure is if you're really into someone and you're in love with that person, all of that technically is not hierarchy of needs and negotiable.
It
So you could be hanging out with somebody who is
it doesn't matter.
definitely
You're
not
absolutely right.
on
It
the
doesn't.
on the historical scale of
That's
performance.
true. It
There
just
could
never
be an
and
historical scale.
let me tell you what's very interesting about that. Do you know I have not had to train myself, oh, don't ask that, don't do that. It doesn't even occur to me to do it. It does not
No, but
even.
I want to make sure that for me, I make sure I say this, and this might be the clear telltale sign of my mindset.
Mhm.
I remember being about 25 ish, and somewhere between 25 27, and I remember being so into. You remember Dre?
Yeah.
Yeah, my person, and I remember being going through. We were going through a would be breakup, and I remember my boss was a friend of my mom. Was my boss at the time, his wife was a friend of my mother, and they were my parents. My mother was young, you knew that. They were relatively young people, and he said, "Well, what is it that has you so gone on him? It's the penis?" And I was so taken aback. I was like, that is a thing that I would be freaking out or having some love sickness or disappointment or hurt because of how this brother's performing. And that began me being aware that that wasn't the measurement for my relationship.
Well, to
And
piggy,
that is the measurement for some.
but and that's where I was gonna go. To piggyback off of that, I realized so when I was in bowling leagues years ago, there was a long time, Tricia, where I was the youngest because I started at a young age. And so I found myself around some very mature women, and I learned very early in life uh, the differences, how we're all made up so differently. Actually, for some women, that's all they would discuss, and that's how they
Yeah.
would, like that was a thing. That's how they would determine, who was on the list of people that they maybe wanted to pursue or wanted to be pursued by was what the image
The
was,
performance and the
the
paper.
perfor- and that was
Performance and paper.
never a thing for me. And I
Yeah.
just I
Performance
what
and paper.
and let me tell you what I've decided. It was both of those things. And that's when I realized that really and truly it's okay. We're just all really wired differently and I never drew to the conversation. It never I was always on the sidelines of it because I was like, wow. Because I mean, it could be somebody with the biggest one in the world, and it just wouldn't mean it. Somebody was like, girl, his blah, blah, blah. It would mean nothing to me.
Absolutely. And I think for me, what I've also learned is because men are aware that they're categorized that way as well, it affects how they manage certain women. And they actually begin to themselves blur the lines about the different kinds of women. They begin to assume that everybody is judging on the
Well,
performance in the paper.
I would agree with that. I will never forget this. This is the first time that I really came to terms with this. Years ago, I had a friend and he would brag about how good he was in the bed. And it was such a turnoff. It was such a turnoff. It was just, I just began to look at him like he was nasty because I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're that good, you've had all these women. And I'm like, ugh. For me, it was just, I think he thought because of the reaction that he would get from women when he talked about how good he was, I think that it really built up his ego, not realizing that he was really going overboard with it. You don't want to be known as the best some things. Let's
He wanted you. He
Yeah.
wanted you to find out.
Yeah. Well, for me, he was a little too confident. Let me say that.
Aha.
Yeah.
Hello. Look, hello. Information was put out
Yeah,
today.
that was a
Sir,
little
you were
too
doing
much
too much.
information. Right,
A
right.
little too
So I
much
do think you can go
information.
overboard with that, but really, honestly, Tricia, if this is, I've just never drawn to the conversation. I've been in the conversation, but it has just never been a thing for me.
You know what? It's funny because we do categorize people according to certain things, and that's kind of like the point of the conversation. And I remember that in the last, 8 years of my life, someone said to me, I was told that I had good D. Then Erica Badu comes out with the song "What I Wouldn't Do for the D."
Right.
And I remember thinking to myself that whomever he had been spending time with in the years prior to knowing me, that they were below my level of womanhood. Because I wanted to know who was running around saying to some
Saying that
fella,
because you don't relate to it.
correct, like what
Yep.
are we talking about? Is
Yep.
that the measurement of what?
Yep.
And performance, isn't it based on chemistry and who
And see,
people
that's
are?
what I always thought. Because I'm gonna tell you what else pissed me off. Would turn me what kind of turn me off was when I heard of one guy talking about he heard that some other guy wasn't good in bed, and I'm thinking to myself, why would you repeat that?
Listen, I
Who
know a guy
does
who
that?
told me, listen, I know a guy who told me about the size of another guy who does that.
Who does that? I'm like,
Right, right.
I would never say, oh. Yeah, I heard such and such wasn't good in bed. I wouldn't even repeat that. It's like, who, what?
We have a friend who told me that someone's vagina had an odor.
Oh, see, that's too much. That is
There it
too,
is.
that's too
There it
much.
is.
That's
So
too
then
much.
that goes back to those people who are having that kind of conversation. They are trying to, as Sierra would say, level themselves up.
Right. What it is this. And I think this is why we don't relate to it because I really think our mentalities are just different. What it is that people decide what gives them credibility. And for some people, that kind of thing gives them credibility. For instance, why would you tell somebody that somebody else's stuff was if somebody's thing was, wouldn't you tell that person? That's the person that needs the information. I don't fucking care.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it did for me, and it has done it for you as well. When you have someone you label as friend, and you're telling me something that personal about
It
someone
makes
you
me
call a
tell you
friend,
nothing.
I have no interest in sharing anything with you. And you're not really a friend because a friend would tell her.
That's what I was gonna
And
say.
it would guard her secret. So there we go. That's the lesson
You
of
talking about
today.
slamming on the brakes. Tell me
Yes.
something about somebody that I don't need to know,
Yes.
and I'm slamming on the brakes. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
yep, you just told on yourself. Yep, can't be trusted.
Yes. So now you're in the category of acquaintance
That's right.
because you'll never really know what
You'll
really is
never be
going
on the
on.
inside because I
Yeah.
can see now that you can't be trusted with certain information. And now I got to be trying to
Yes.
figure out what I can say to you and what I can't. How about I say nothing. High and by.
Yeah, there's no figuring it out. You just become very
Mm-hmm.
surface friends. And that hence is why some people can't grow together.
Yeah, that's why you end up finding yourself having that friend that is still you feel warmth for the person because you always did, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't run with the person anymore. You don't hang with the person anymore. You all don't do things. You don't tell them personal things anymore.
It becomes casual and cavalier because no one's messing with you like that. As the young
Bingo.
girl said to me today, I'm not on that kind of time. I'm not on that type of time.
What does she mean?
Type of time means I'm not doing that with you. And what are we
Okay.
doing right now? I'm
Okay.
not on that type of time with
I
you.
need to use that one.
Yeah, that's my girl at work. I'm not on that type of time with you.
Listen,
What type of time are we on?
listen, girl. Talking about these from last week when I was telling you when you saw that picture of my friends and I, how everything is just blurry. People dressing all kind of ways, and you don't even know what to expect from people anymore. I just said to myself, I think everybody at this point is just reevaluating everything. We're just
Yes.
reevaluating it all. So I like I said, certain boxes when we were talking about those checking those boxes, the ones that I caught myself checking so I can be right. Some of them I've decided to uncheck and check others.
Correct. Because what the moral of the story, what we thought was right based on our family messaging, right? Our spiritual
Hello?
messaging and our cultural experience is no longer right. So technically
Yeah,
we're
it's
in this
not right
season,
for today.
right? We're in the season of
Yep.
in order to move forward from where we are to the next 20 to 40 years, we need to create a whole new set of boxes and begin to redefine what's popping out here and what you want to be invested in.
There you go.
Because what you thought you knew, you don't know. And you got to make sure you're careful. Because if you come in the room, you might become a queen or a boo.
What's up, Queen?
Ain't nothing popping, boo.
Oh
And
my
that's the Sunday fun day conversation
God. That's
today.
it. That's it.
Check your boxes, people. Try to figure out what you identify with and what you don't identify with. Come to terms with it, find peace with it, and know that when you're in the environment, just enjoy it and take it in because technically it's like when we were kids, and I think it was Electric Company. One of these kids is doing his own thing.
Was that Electric Company Tree?
Was it or was it Sesame Street? You know, I'm not American. Which one was
Oh,
it?
I want to say probably the Electric because it wasn't Sesame Street.
It was Sesame Street.
It
You
wasn't
remember it in the
Sesame.
box? And they had the kids, and they said one of these kids
No, I
was
remember
okay.
that, and I'm wondering
Yes.
because I have something else in my mind, but I can't. It's a little foggy, so I can't remember. But what I did want to say, because I never did say in the beginning, where we could be reached if people had comments, about the topic, feedback, things of that nature.
I need you to tell me about your sexual conquest and your size when you send us these texts. Please make sure you give us information, and make sure that if you're a woman, you put queen in front of your name. And if you're a man, I want you to put nigga in front of it, and then we're going to discuss it. Because you can always find us at IntellectualRadio.com every other Sunday.
4 p.m.
Eastern time, 4 o'clock. Yes. And
Wait,
where can they send these messages, my friend?
on if you want to send us a message, you can send it to wemissed.podcast@gmail.com, or excuse me, Facebook is We Missed It a Podcast, and IG is We Missed It .podcast. And of course, thank you to IntellectualRadio.com.
Yes, and make sure you send all the information, because we inquiring minds.
No, I say send all the deets. That's the new word.
All the deets.
Send all the deets.
But no pics, please. Descriptive. Let us know you can use your mind.
No, I want all deets. Tracy, let's see what the people have for us. Why would you turn down any information at this point? Just
okay.
Take it off.
All pics to Christine Johnson.
I was receiving pics. Wait a minute. Remember, I know you're going to cut us off, Earl. Remember, we were on the family reunion, and I was telling you I was receiving those pics. Those dick pics.
Rude.
I got it. Hey, I'll call you in a minute, girl. I think we're out of time here.
What they say? I'll holler.
That's it. Now that shows you how much we think alike. Because guess what I was getting ready to say to you? I'll holler, girl. I'll call you in a minute.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Happy Sunday in 2 weeks. 4 p.m.
In 2 weeks.
Okay, girl.
All right.